What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. This is our first one. We are That Time I Got Reincarnated as Podcaster. I'm a host, Forrest, and this is
Bob.
Ed Boy.
And today we're just going to be talking about how we got into anime, just, and maybe stuff we're watching this season. I'm not really sure.
Sure.
So however it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I think he just left it to us, Bob.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
You just kind of left him there. You left him there hanging. Right?
Oh man, that wasn't my intention.
Of course, it was your intention.
It's always his attention. Slows us down.
Okay, so how do you guys want to start this? Where are we going? How do you want to do this? Who wants to begin?
Well, I could always start, So I guess we'll start with how we got into it.
He started 2 months ago.
Hey, no spoilers. Now, I started back in senior year of high school. I remember my friend. So I finally had cable. And my friend turned it to Funimation. I think had a TV channel, and he put it on.
Okay.
And I was like, what is this? I'm like, cartoons. I'm like, this is kind of weird, but I'll sit and watch it. And it was XXX Holic.
That was on TV?
Yeah. It's not a hentai.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yes. But that's not something you put on TV, I guess.
But
that's not very mainstream.
But the Funimation, I think, just had stuff that they had through their library. Because I remember watching tons of shows, Oraimo, Toradora. It was all in English, though. So
That was all dubbed.
Garbage. Dude, I still, it blows my mind that you didn't get cable until you were in high school.
that's normal, isn't it?
What do you mean? Like,
Well,
what do you watch before?
As I said, I watched
TV.
golf on Sundays because,
yeah.
I hated my life, I guess. We just, you'd get the book that told you what was coming on the normal channels.
You actually use that? Do you use that?
Or the newspaper had it, too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I actually looked. It was more the idea of I turn on the TV and start flipping through channels.
Yeah, dude, channel surfing.
Yeah, but when you only had 5 channels,
That makes
kinda
it
knew.
even easier.
yeah, but you couldn't miss your favorite shows. So I remember watching, what is it, Falling Skies was on at a certain time. Or
You didn't have
stuff
PBS or what was it?
Yeah, we had
No,
PBS.
PBS is public access.
Yeah,
that's.
4Kids or whatever?
4Kids is under PBS.
I
It
thought,
was,
I
I
thought
think,
it was
at the
under
time.
WB.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah,
But yeah, didn't you have that on regular TV?
because that
Yeah,
was
probably,
that was
but-
Saturday morning cartoons.
Exactly.
But they would only play it at certain times.
Nah, dude, you slept in.
No, I would watch that, but
Then you
the
would watch
90 other
anything
% of the day when I'm awake,
Oh, okay.
I just watch that. Watch random garbage.
Random garbage.
Like
A lot of
Judy?
cooking. Dude, I watched Judge Judy. I watched that show with
How'd I
the
know?
contestants, Family Feud, and the other one,
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy. Yeah, I watched all that
What's the
stuff.
fucking another one? Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah,
Those old people game shows.
The classics.
rest in peace.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
Rip. But continue.
But yeah, so I just ended up watching that show, and I thought it was interesting because it wasn't like a kid's cartoon.
Uh-huh.
And I saw Dragon Ball as a kid, but it never registered in my mind.
Wait, so you'd say, your first anime was Triple X Holic?
Probably. Well, it got me into it,
Uh-huh.
but I remember after I saw that, my friend left. I was like, oh, what do y'all? Because it constantly just played anime all day long. But it'd play 2 episodes a day of 8 different shows. And it would be in order. But I remember I jumped in Exaholic at probably episode 6, and there was just random
Shit.
stuff. And then I think I started watching it, I'd record it on the TiVo.
Oh boy.
And so I'd watch every episode I could. And then I ended up going through, what was the other one? I think Toradora was on TV at the same time. So I watched those 2, and then there's some random sporadic stuff.
When did you get into, Crunchyroll? I'm going to dive in fully.
So, the good news about the TV channel, great idea. Failed. So it went under, and I'm like, how do I watch this now? So then I just ended up, I think when I first started was I found the bootleg stuff. Oh, no, actually. So, XX Holic only had 1 season dubbed, and then it had a short season. So,
Uh-huh.
12 episodes, 6 episodes, OVAs. There's some OVAs.
Story,
and a movie.
Core.
And the movie I found on Netflix. So I remember renting that. And then the TV shows, I couldn't find them. And I remember looking up on the internet and only finding subbed, and I didn't think about it at the time. Like, why would I want to watch this in Japanese? Like, I could watch the guy speak to me in
Why
English.
do I want to read this?
Yeah. So I remember being like, I'm not gonna watch this. I'll find something else in English. And then probably like towards the end of that, like start of college, I just started to dive into subs. Cause Angel Beats was also one of the other first ones that was on TV. I remember being quite sad. Yeah.
Oh, that.
But yeah, so I just used to watch it that way, and then dived into subs, and I'm like, oh, this is so much better. But I'll listen to both. I don't care. Dubs are good when I don't want to pay attention, and I can
No, man.
I can do something else and watch anime.
All right.
Just learn Japanese, my man.
Just learn Japanese.
Just learn Japanese, this man
just buy some Rosetta Stone.
First, I need to learn English, and then I can learn Japanese.
Get some Rosetta Stone.
Just download Duolingo or whatever that app is called.
You want to hear the sad part? I have
has it.
Duolingo, and I have Rosetta Stone.
Oh my god.
He has Los Dos.
And I know about Human Japanese.
Oh, nice.
So
You what?
Human Japanese, it's the one abroad that talks about. So I'm gonna try that out when I'm not lazy. But yeah, that's basically how I started. It's pretty simple.
Dude, for me, started when I was 5 years old.
Loser.
I know. So I was always at the generator, I guess. But it was on just like regular TV,
Yeah.
no cable, and it was Dragon Ball.
Okay.
And it was always after school. Sadly enough, I didn't start from the very beginning. I started like I think right after the Cell Saga, like
Okay.
towards the end of it. And so I would just watch it like every day after school. And I remember like I watched it with my dad, but he would like go off work after like dinner. So I would have to like put the videotape in like the VHS,
Yeah.
record the episodes, and then just watch them later. And do you ever watch like Fox Kids? You remember that channel?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I heard.
So I have Fox Kids, and that's when you know it's Gundam Wing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha, or was that Toonami then?
That was probably
Toonami when
Toonami.
they got like Yu Yu Hakusho, because that's pushing more PG-13 ish.
So that was after. So before that, I think it was the. You ever see that anime with like one of the characters is just like an eyeball and it's like yellow?
Monster Rancher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Good
was
thing you knew.
No, I know exactly which one he's talking about.
Digimon?
Digimon,
That's
dude.
his own,
I
but
did
yeah.
watch Digimon.
I guess if we're going that far back, technically Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh,
and
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Pokemon.
Yeah. The classics. And
I almost don't count that just because
It's just
you didn't know at the
yeah.
time, or at least I did feel like I didn't.
But then when I moved, and then we got this new channel when I was like 8 called Locomotion, and they showed anime 24/7.
Huh?
So that's when I saw like titties for the first time. It was like Evangelion. I was like, holy shit. so that's when I got into Evangelion, because saw some scenes. I'm like, I should probably watch this, because it awoken something in me as I was 8 years old. But I watched Bubblegum Crisis then,
Yep.
the Red Baron or whatever, and then I remember Saturday mornings they would just play all the Dragon Ball movies.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so I saw all of those.
So that'd be nice. I don't think I've seen most
Dude,
of them.
and then later
it's
on,
like any
fucking Fox Kids changed into like Jetix or something like that,
Okay.
and they got rid of some anime, but then I don't know if you count like Code Lyoko. Do you ever see that show?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
I thought it was anime for the longest time, and then I found out it was like some French show.
Oh.
Yeah,
The same art style, but
I mean, it's close,
it's
right?
close.
I
yeah.
mean,
but then you'll go through another argument. What is anime? And then
yeah,
that's another
where
time.
those boundaries come in.
It was still a cartoon, so
Yeah.
I'll watch that one. And I guess when I stopped. I think when I was like 11 or 10, and then I started watching again after high school. But I just rewatched what I already watched before. I don't know, like Beyblade or like Gundam Wing.
yeah,
Rewatched Evangelion, and I got really depressed.
I do remember there was another channel after that one got canceled. It's called Mnet, but it was more just music. It was like a Korean channel.
Yeah.
And for some reason they had anime like once in a blue moon.
Okay.
But they were more the edgier anime at the time. I can't remember. I think Canon was one of them. Or CANNO.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or CAN, whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think that was
whatever.
one of them. There's another one. I remember watching it there too. But I actually remember the first anime now. I was a kid, and for some reason, the PBS kids, for Halloween, they would get Kiki's Delivery Service. And they would play it
Yeah.
on the TV for some reason. I was like, I love this movie as a kid.
That's why it's your favorite.
Yeah,
Ah.
so that's what
I didn't see any Ghibli movies until I was like a teenager.
Oh, really?
I think the first one I watched was Spirited Away.
See, I didn't know that was like, I didn't know about Ghibli. I just thought it was a cool kids cartoon.
Yeah, it's an animated movie.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I was.
My dumbass thought it was like Disney or something.
I don't even think it was Disney, but I thought it was something else. Different.
Well, technically, isn't it? Wasn't it Disney?
Yeah, it was.
At the
I mean,
time?
it was.
So that's probably why
I
it was
mean,
shown.
right-wise, as far as like localization or westernization is concerned, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, those rights used to be owned by Disney.
Not anymore.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So my case is, I mean, I've watched it for a very long time, just like yourself.
Uh-huh.
It's always been there. I mean, obviously, growing up, the standard Saturday morning cartoon, which was mostly Japanese to begin with. Obviously, like you said, your Pokemon, Digimon,
Your Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade. I remember there was sometimes other ones would come up after those. They were a little less known, or it was just Toonami, and I was just watching Toonami at that point.
Fucking Bakugan.
No, I never watched Bakugan.
Me neither.
But like a Cardcaptor Sakura was,
I love that
was a
show.
show that I used to watch a lot. That time period was the first time I saw some older shows like freaking Vision of Escaflowne was one of that time that I liked a lot. Mopes of Bendabling, obviously. It was it was the same thing. And I remember even with that, so I had like friends and their cousins were like super big into it. Like their older cousins were super big in anime. And I remember I went deep in like Gundam because of them and what they knew. And I remember they even had like Japanese music and stuff from shows and stuff like that. But it, obviously, at that time period, it never fully like you never register a distinction, right? You're just like, oh, it's just more animated stuff, and this is great. And sometimes you realize like some of it obviously is Japanese, but it's not like no one ever tells you there's a difference.
Why can't I understand this song?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's like one of those things. Also, around that time, family used to go to the local library a lot, and there used to be like VCR or cassettes and shit like that you can rent. Watched like the first like the animated Lord of the Rings and stuff like that was there at that time. We used to rent them, and that's when I first watched them. That's when I first watched them because of that. Absolutely amazing. But at that time, they also had Ghibli films, right? So when I was a kid, we would just rent these films because it was better than going to the Blockbuster and getting some Disney film because it's the library, right? You don't pay for anything. And I remember watching freaking My Neighbor Totoro and Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle and stuff like that. All of that time, and to me, it was just animated films. And it's funny because I never really recognized what it was, or wasn't really reminded of what it was until much later. Again, when I'm just like, oh, I've seen this movie. Like, I've watched this. I know what this is now. That's the best part. And then I had another friend, and his older sister was super big into it as well. So I remember at their house, I would watch like Inuyasha and like Yu Yu Hakusho, some older shonens from that time. I mean, Dragon Ball was always a big thing. I never really watched Naruto, even though I think she watched it a bit as well. I remember one time we were just at her house, and then they weren't there, but like she had a TV in her room, and it was set to like Toonami or something. It had a marathon. I watched like Last Exile, which was like for like the whole time I was there, because my parents were just chilling there with like their friends, and I was just there. I didn't have anyone else to talk to, so I watched Last Exile. So there's that, and I mean, so there was a lot of those influences from early on, and then it just was gone, and then I just didn't watch anything. And then it was just cartoons. It was just SpongeBob and Vader Zim, the standard Nickelodeon Cartoon Network cartoons.
Yeah.
For like the longest time, and just shows until after like high school and stuff. Because obviously, like in high school, you almost don't even want to go back into it, even though you used to like it. Because I
don't want to be nerdy, dude.
Yeah, I don't want to be those people.
Yeah.
But lo and behold,
Comes full
it
circle.
comes full circle.
Dude, I remember in my high school, like, anime was a thing, but it wasn't really too bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice. Oh, and the camera died. Sorry, guys, we had a camera issue. Now we're back. So, keep going. I don't remember where you were.
We're talking about.
It's only 5 minutes ago.
Oh, you had the record button. Yeah, okay.
No, it's just been recording.
Oh, has been recording the whole.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it's just a big black screen, so we know when to cut it.
Nice.
And this is being left in, so deal with it.
Yeah, so we're talking about cringy kids in high school, right?
Oh, yeah,
Which
that's
is the
right.
reason why I didn't want to watch high school.
That's right.
Well, I didn't want to watch anime in high school.
So I don't remember any kids really being bullied by anime. So we had a lot of Asians where I grew up, and the only kids that I remember. So I had automotive class in the morning,
Yeah.
and the band class was for some reason right across from the automotive class.
Okay.
Those kids don't really clash too much,
Yeah.
but I was kind of friends with both sides, so I just stayed out of it. But I remember always in front of our automotive class, there'd be the kids that played Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm like, I love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I played it through all like middle school, maybe a little bit in the high school, but they would like sit in front and they'd be like yelling at each other when they're playing cards.
Oh,
Like,
hell yeah, they got into
yeah,
it.
they got
Yeah.
into it. Like, I'm pretty sure they were picturing the cards being summoned in their face when they were doing
And then the
it.
last flash points, no!
And I'm just like, I respect these guys, but you're not in the right hallway, my friends. So I just look at them and just move along.
For me, the cutoff was like elementary school, pretty much. It's like all through elementary, obviously, you grew up and you had Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and you just, you fucking play the games, or you stole someone else's card because you beat him in a match.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned,
Yeah,
the old-fashioned thing, right?
Give him some Beyblades, behind school or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that was all in elementary school. In my case, obviously, there was like a move in the middle of that.
Yeah.
The moving of states with different demographics, we should say. So in the new one, I mean, it's not something that was really big. Obviously, going into junior high and high school at that point, I mean, sure, the nerdiest thing wasn't still super crazy. Obviously, the world's a little different now, obviously, and who knows how long back. But I mean, growing up, all friends were like into Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, right? The things that were like big and just came out during those time periods. And that's just kind of what I focused on in that side of things. And if anything, I think I enjoyed just either books or films and just the fantasy genre and stuff like that were just out in that time, right? Or whatever movies, or I just got super big into movies at the time. And then it wasn't until like after high school I'm like, yo, you know what I want to watch? I want to watch Gundam. So I just went on the internet and I'm like, I'm gonna find this.
Dude,
when
you go on YouTube and you were like, Gundam Wing or whatever, episode 1, part 1.
Well, here's the issue,
So-
right? So here's the issue, right? So I watched Gundam Wing as a kid, but in my head it was just Gundam, right?
Yeah,
I don't know, it was fucking Gundam Wing,
Yeah.
right? So it's like I look up Gundam and then I see the immenseness that is Gundam, and I'm just like, oh, where do I begin?
This doesn't look like the one I watched.
Yeah. So eventually, I went through and I found one. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, this is a newer one. I was like, I'm gonna watch 00, right?
Uh-huh.
I'll watch 00. I put it on. I'm like, this doesn't look quite like what I remember, but it looked good because it was a newer show, right? And then I went through all of it, and I was like, that was great. I remember why I used to like these. I went back and I rewatched Vision of Escaflowne. I guess I guess in junior high I did watch Evangelion because I had friends that loved. They didn't watch like anything else, like as far as anime was concerned.
Yeah.
But they had like all of Evangelion.
I don't have the DVDs, right? Like
Yeah.
Daniel,
Well, Isai technically had him,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
His brother technically had him, but they had the full VHS set of the original TV run of Evangelion. So that's how I watched it in junior high. So I guess that was the only thing I did watch anime wise within junior high itself, right? Because they watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, another
Dude,
cool thing.
but like when you were a kid, did you ever like play pretend, like Dragon Ball though?
No,
Never.
No.
You never blasted someone, dude.
no.
Wow.
Well,
So yeah, I used to play, like, we played pretend, but I think for my group, because we're more gamers, we did Final Fantasy stuff like that.
Oh, I mean,
So
that's
it'd be,
it's in a similar
you'd get the
vein.
stick, and somebody else would get the stick, and they just beat the shit out of each other.
yeah, I
Until
did
someone
that
wins.
like in like 3rd, 4th grade or whatever. You pretend to go Super Saiyan or
Yeah.
whatever, and like pretend to hit each other, or like play Power Rangers.
But then again, in
They did
like your
magic
case,
too.
if we're going in your case, I believe culturally, Dragon Ball Z probably holds more of a hold where you're from more than even within like where we
Here.
grew up.
That makes sense.
So that's the thing too. Is like I remember. It's funny because I remember all the kids that used to really watch Dragon Ball were either the Asian or Hispanic kids.
Because I think like it was more.
That is true.
It was more accessible back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but that's who it was. I mean, it wasn't like the random the white
kid.
Yeah, they didn't watch that, right?
Let's pretend to be Luke Skywalker, guys.
Well, my two closest friends at the time were Brazilian and Portuguese, and they would watch Dragon Ball. I
There's
remember.
Brazilians in New Jersey.
There's
Yeah,
everything in
there's,
New Jersey.
dude, we're more
Just
culture.
Italians.
That was back in like the 70s.
Oh, okay.
And then they got ran out by the cops.
But yeah, exactly what he said. But that was the thing, though, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's like you growing up the way you did. Obviously, I mean, Dragon Ball, like in Mexico, is huge.
huge.
It's ridiculously huge. Like when the mayor of your capital city wants to post a fight on the big screen in your town square. I mean, you understand the cultural significance of what this show means.
Dude, it was like playing like a final of like a sport. Like, let's put Jiren and Goku fight on this like.
Yeah, on the big. It's like you're going back to the day. It's a Mike Tyson fight against somebody. It's just putting on the big screen.
I was the videos. They got so high.
See, but this is the thing too, and it's like time I spent down there as well. It's like that was. I remember when I was down there. What came out? What movie was that?
It was the Battle of the Gods.
Yeah, Battle of the Gods is the one that came out. And I remember people got hyped down there when that movie came out.
Dude, it got extra hype because they brought back like the original people that did the dub.
Yeah.
Because they did Kai before that, and it was different people, and no one liked it.
Oh, okay.
So then they brought the original cast. It was like, oof, hype as fuck.
Hype. I mean, it's funny. It's crazy. Like, for instance, you're going down there, obviously. So people on their doors have like religious stickers sometimes, right?
Yeah.
That say like, "Oh, in this house we're Catholic, and we don't accept other things and whatnot," right? But it's funny because you find these houses and they have a same style sticker, and it'd have freaking Goku on it.
Oh my god!
And it'd be like, in this house, people belong to the Church of Goku. And it's so funny. It's like we don't accept propaganda from gods that don't have a key less than 9,000.
Got you, dude. I want that in my house. If there's no soliciting.
Yeah, it'd be like long live Goku, long live Gohan, long live the Dragon Balls.
Hell yeah!
And it had like a Goku with like the saint circle back behind his head and stuff. It was exactly the same, and I thought it was the greatest thing.
Dude, you think
ever.
they sell candles of like
Yes.
Saint Goku?
Yes,
They do. I've seen them.
You see them? Oh
Yeah.
my god!
But yeah, so I mean, and that's the thing with where you probably get that with Dragon Ball, and that's why it's so big, right? So it's where you get all the fans too. It's all like Hispanic fans and stuff like that. They just love it.
Dude, but do you remember in middle school, like people that wore the Naruto headbands?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't get many of those, but I knew a few. I knew them.
Well, it's like the people you knew, and sometimes you're just kind of like, inside you're just like,
I like the show, but like, man, I don't know. I think you took it too far.
well, I didn't even watch it. It was just one of those things. I don't like. It was almost like put me off from it, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the sad thing of it too. I mean, obviously it has its merits, and then there's obviously good things in it from here and there. But yeah, it was one of those things. It's just like, oh, it sucks.
Yep.
And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't touch it for so long until you get old enough that you don't give a shit anymore. You're like, fuck it, man.
The problem is, some people made it too cringy. Like, it's nothing that we're doing today makes it cringy.
So what are you talking about, dude?
But there's sometimes you're like, when you go to conventions and you know who you are. You. You're just like...
Comment down below if you know.
Just comment down a little bit. But still freak out. It's pretty fun.
I remember the reason I didn't get into Naruto early on. It's so I found it when I was like 12 on YouTube.
Okay.
And on like AMVs or whatever.
Oh.
No,
So I was
of course.
Yes.
trying to watch it on YouTube, trying to find like the first episode. But the only dub they have was like the Spanish from Spain.
Oh.
And it was terrible. And like I never thought of watching it in like Japanese. So I'm like, nah, this is garbage.
I gotta read as a 5-year-old or whatever age you say. Too young.
What's crazy about watching, so now that you mentioned that you found the dub in Spanish, it's like the different viewing, like when you actually watch shows from back then in different dubs,
Yeah.
it's very different experiences.
Oh yeah.
It's like, for instance, if we take music for example, right? A lot of the English localized dubs, you see a lot of changes to openings, or sometimes they got rid of openings and did things. But then you go into the Spanish, and it's the same opening as the Japanese one, just in Spanish. But it's the same thing.
So they just got a new singer.
Yeah, that's why it made me so sad when I moved here and like you're watching like Dragon Ball or whatever, or like the old ones.
Yeah.
The opening is different. You know, you're like, what the hell? Or like the soundtrack for Dragon Ball in the English is like non-existent, and the original, the Japanese one, is so god tier. Which they kept it in the Spanish dub, but the English is so different, and it just changes the whole show. At least for me.
Well, it's like Digimon, right?
Yeah.
Like the openings for Digimon.
Yeah.
I mean, the English opening for Digimon, you know, has a place. Has a place in my
Still
heart.
garbage.
But compared to the Japanese one, yeah, it's not great.
You're telling me it doesn't hit the same?
Fuck you. So, I mean, it's obviously like, you know, something completely different. Something. Well, the original's just great.
Yeah.
And Watakuji was a boss. Rip.
Rip.
But yeah, so that is one of the, and it's interesting, like the different ways you get in anime, like the different influences. And it's funny because like those, sometimes you don't even realize those influences, especially if you're looking back, way back when, until like you go like back into it, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't until like after, you know, watching those things back in high school, taking some time off, and then coming back and realizing that these fools were like,
Yeah.
you know, knee deep in the degenerate mire.
Knee deep into subs, dude. To simulcast.
Yeah, exactly. When I started going like way deep into all of that, and then once you start going in deep and you start hearing, you know, to the point where you start recognizing studio names and stuff like this, and then you go back and
Dude, when you start recognizing Japanese voice actors,
or directors, composers,
And yeah, the symbols that you're like, oh, I know that one symbol.
Exactly.
I can read that moon rune.
Exactly. But at the same time, it's just like, oh, I know what Ghibli is now. I know all those things that I watched as a kid is this thing, and it's great, and it's wonderful.
Well, remember I said Kiki's probably the first one?
Yeah.
I do remember, it was probably when I was like 13, like they just didn't play it again or something, because they played it for like 5 years straight.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember I'm like, oh, they didn't play it this year, this is weird. And then, I said I didn't get until 16, 17. And I remember trying to look for it, and I didn't remember the name of it, I couldn't remember the studio. So I just remember watching all this stuff, and I think one day, something from Studio Ghibli popped up. It's probably like Spirited Away, because, you know, it's the most popular here. And I was just like, that, I'm like, this was good. I wonder what else they did. I saw the thing pop up. I'm like, I found it.
did you ever try to Google it? Or like witch black cat animated cartoon.
But the problem is, you put in like just. Yeah, 'cause I didn't know anime, I guess it was called. So I just typed in cartoons with witches. And
you get some hentai.
Maybe. But you just get a lot of just, you know, cartoon stuff. So, like American Made. Here's Sabrina. Popped up everywhere. Sabrina. And you're just like, it's like, well, I guess it's lost to the ages.
Yeah.
And then just remember falling into it. I'm like, well, I guess I'm buying this today. I'm buying the Blu-ray of it.
Dude, I still haven't seen that movie.
What?
Kiki?
You never seen Kiki's?
Never seen it.
Okay, we're stopping the podcast. We're watching it right now.
Never.
So what you're telling me is we're watching that right after this. Perfect.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
In English. Because that's the only way you can watch those shows.
Oof.
Actually, I mean, technically, didn't
He says you're supposed to
Miyazaki
watch
did
them.
that on purpose?
Yeah. Because he hires good voice actors, not like the usual, sorry.
Funimation.
Yeah. They are getting better. They are getting better. But
bad.
no, we'll talk about that later. But so he did hire voice actors that are famous celebrities to do like good voices, and not the same tone you hear.
I think he also said the reason he did that so you can focus on the animation without worrying about.
He says the animation
that makes sense.
is almost more important than the
so you
story.
can focus on the visual storytelling.
Because a bad dub is just distracts me so much that I just don't want to watch it.
For me, the only thing within the two that it probably it wouldn't have irked me unless I saw it pointed out to me, which is one of those things, you know, once it's pointed out to you, you start noticing little things.
Yeah.
But like, so there's more than just language audio changes between the two recordings. Yeah. There's changes to sound design and music as well, which I mean, the only issue I have with that, it's like they're very different from each other. Like if you watch the Japanese cut of a Ghibli film and you watch like a dubbed cut of a Ghibli film. Ghibli, right?
Yes,
Ghibli.
sure.
Ghibli.
Ghibli, I think, is what they're called.
Ghibli, okay. Studio Ghibli film.
Ghibli.
Ghibli,
I mean, they are mixed differently. There's different emphases and different focuses depending on foci, depending on where, I guess, depending on where
Sure.
like the audience or who is it for.
Well, that makes more sense, though, because there's a lot of the movies that you're watching, and you're just like, there's certain scenarios that they get into that we've never seen in our lives.
No, I mean that's understandable, but like even within like stuff that we would understand, like tropes of the standard adventure
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
ABC, basically.
Yeah. Your standard like just fantasy story, which a lot of them kind of are to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like you'll have changes in feel and mood and stuff like that depending on what the music does. Which for most people, I mean, most people don't fully like realize it or like hear it anyway. So it doesn't normally matter.
Yeah.
But that is something to me that's just like, oh, it'd be nice if it was just the language change and everything came over. Because, I mean, the sound design originally is done very meticulously and on purpose. And sometimes, like, the localized audio is done, I mean, not as, like, detailed, as I should say. It's more generic.
Yeah.
Which, it's a standard gripe of just film and everything nowadays anyway. But
they had Disney money,
Not really.
for voice acting,
but not for mixing.
I mean,
That's
it's different. But the thing is, they're doing it differently. They're trying to mix it like a standard,
Cartoon.
American Western
Yeah.
cartoon,
Gotcha.
like like a Disney film,
Yeah.
right? And so they make choices to make it sound like it would
More
be like a
Disney,
Disney
yeah.
film.
They're trying to portray how they've been feeding us content like all of our lives. Because the people who watch normally Ghibli stuff are not the same people who watch anime.
Yeah,
They do collide very hard,
Yeah.
but they're almost two sides of a coin. Because it's like, listen, I saw Ghibli and I never thought of it. I thought it was just another cartoon.
Yeah,
I'm like, this
exactly.
is a Disney movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was
I've
Disney
never heard
for
of-
a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and that's one of the things. Actually, there's some fun differences too that I saw. Like for instance, there's parts in the Japanese like mix, like there's a lot more silence in
Yeah.
those mixes and just like ambient noise.
Yeah, music.
Yeah.
basically.
Well, not even just, like just like whether it be the wind or just ambient like sound, which on the English mix is replaced with just music. Like music takes all of that over.
Yeah.
Which I mean works in its own ways, but it's just different feels and stuff for different scenes and
Yeah.
things like that. Where on the Western side of things, you just see them like want to put music everywhere.
Which makes sense because we're all ADD and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want to. If you have silence, you're like, look at the TV, and silence is like, oh, my phone says something today. Oh.
But I mean, it also helps with like contrast stuff. But like at the end, that stuff, you don't fully realize
No.
until you look at things later. Anyway, like I said, like as a kid, it was just another. It's just another animated film. For a lot of people, that's just how it works, and it works well. I mean, you take like any Pixar movie, for instance, and that's amazing for what it is, and that's following that same formula.
Which is fine. As I said, all it is there for them to make money, and if that's what they need to do,
Because like I said,
it doesn't harm it.
it's more for like the casual viewer, I think. Like
Yeah.
more like a
Well, that's what the
broad,
movies
like,
are. They're
yeah.
more for casual.
Yeah, it's meant to reach
per
a
se.
wider audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, and that's part of the reason why you have such a boom in popularity now, right? It's like saying us coming in, junior high school. It wasn't that big of a thing, right?
Nope.
And the couple of kids who did watch it were strange
Yes.
most of the time.
That's why I said that.
unless you had people who liked it.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
why we had
then-
there was a TV channel, and it went away. You know
Yeah.
what? I'm pretty sure all the people that were watching it were probably watching it on the computer and not the TV.
Yeah, exactly.
The one that I'm surprised that Toonami has stayed alive for so long.
Well, I think Toonami just works because they're not hitting heavy viewers because it is very late at night.
It is very late.
'Cause it was-
And
after
it's
Adult Swim.
adult-ish cartoons, and then you had anime that they normally push more towards adults because I know like they have Space Dandy was one of them for later on.
Cowboy Bebop was
Cowboy
one of the
Bebop,
first.
Yeah.
Samurai Champloo
Yeah.
was in there. All his stuff.
Dude, I hated
Like,
that.
the three we mentioned were all by the same director. But
I forgot he did Space Dandy. Totally forgot about
No,
that.
but I hated that
But-
back then. They run most of it, and then out of nowhere, you're like, let's just rerun all the way back to the beginning, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I remember that was some shows. I think that happened with Monster Rancher when I watched it. Like, I don't remember watching the end of that show.
Like for me, that
I don't even know if I even watched the end of that show.
mine was Yu Yu Hakusho. Like it always got to like the tournament arc
Uh-huh.
where he was fighting like the huge dude with like black
Yeah.
glasses, and then it would stop there
Well,
and they rerun it. I'm like,
I think
oh
the
my
issue
God.
with that
Movie
was
licensing.
well, yeah. So I think that's when like the new season started, where they split the season in half. So that might be
Oh.
where that split, and they only got 1 through 12 or 1 through
You only got the
26.
first core. And then
Yeah,
Some
and they're like, "Well, this is all we can show. Good luck finding the rest."
I mean, I could go back and rewatch it now, but it's been too long.
and there's also so many episodes.
Yeah.
That's the thing with any shonen from that time period, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many episodes.
But that opening still slaps.
Yeah. But like anything, if you go back, if you ever want to go back and watch, I don't know, Dragon Ball, Naruto, God forbid, One Piece.
Never.
All
you
new.
can't pay me to
Bleach.
binge watch One Piece.
Why not? My mom's almost done with it.
Are you
She's
serious?
at 540 something.
Dude, she still had like 300 episodes.
Yeah, but she's watched 500 episodes.
Look at your cousin,
Which one?
the younger one.
The one that actually watched.
Yeah, the one that
One
actually
Piece?
watched One Piece.
Jesus.
Yeah, see, he went through it.
Dude, he like no life there though. Like we're gonna
Dude,
watch it
that's
all
the-
day,
that's the
every
only-
day.
that's
That you have no life.
What you mean?
You watched 10 seasons of Smallville.
But you're right.
You could do it if you really wanted to.
That's only like how many hours of my life.
You should do it, JoJo.
I
I
watch
do want-
JoJo.
I do want to catch up on JoJo.
I need to catch up on that. I haven't seen season 4?
I've only seen
I
season 1.
want to understand
Or season
and
1 and a half.
internalize the hype.
It's fun.
It's funny, dude. It's like all the stands and like how they talk.
Like, I love season 1.
The
I heard
action's
season
pretty
2 is not great. But I heard season 3 is when it just, like, picks up and it just becomes...
I think you just
Bizarre.
watch it for the meme.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So,
It's like Pop Team Epic. But I will never sit through Pop Team Epic. 2.
it was okay.
2.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen like clips of it.
It's funny.
It's like...
It's a different type of humor.
Is it Nisekoi? The other one?
Nisekoi?
No,
With the,
no.
Which one am I thinking of?
Nisekoi is like the trash romance ones.
No, it's
Or are
not
you
that
thinking
one.
of Nichijou?
Nichijou. There you go.
Nichijo's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Nichijou's-
Where it's the same idea, but I feel like Nichijou did it way better than Pop Team
Nichijou
ever tried.
Nichijou is the one like they have that scene where
It's
like
where he fights the deer.
yeah, that's my favorite scene, dude.
It's the one thing you see
It's the scene, yeah,
everywhere.
it's the most clipped scene of that show.
I love it.
It also helps that show is animated so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
You had Lucky Star too. Or similar.
Yuyushki.
Yeah, Lucky Star is great.
Yeah.
There was a
no.
Yuyushki as well.
It's that type. But then again, I think Pop Team Epic's made to be more memey.
I also think it
than the
was
other ones
more.
are.
So I feel like the other ones were Japanese humor, where Pop Team Epic almost I think tried to do American humor.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I say. It's that more memey,
Yeah.
that more meme
Meme.
internet humor, right?
Is it kind of like something panties or whatever?
No.
No.
It's the panties and stockings.
That one.
No.
No, that's
No.
way better.
That Panty and Stocking's great.
And that's also a god tier dub.
Yeah, I haven't seen it dubbed, but it reminds me of like an American type of humor.
Well, it's
That
like an
one
American
is,
cartoon
yeah.
almost. And that's the thing with with a lot of some Gynax stuff from that time period.
Rip
It's
Gynax.
later in a Trigger.
Yeah.
But it does have that kind of style to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Panty and Stocking was in that.
Because to me, Panty and
Style.
Stockings, Powerpuff Girls, like art style, is how I always pictured them.
Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
like, well, it's like a Space Patrol Luluco is the same way.
Yeah.
It does have that very like that Cartoon Networky kind of feel to it, that
That transformation
animation
scenes
vibe.
though.
Well, yeah, but then that's when you got like the actual
Yeah.
anime vibe to it.
Yeah.
But it does have that. For instance,
But then you had the claymation
Whoa.
when it blew up.
a lot of like Trigger stuff from that time has that feel. Like if you watch Inferno Cop, it looks like some Adult Swim show.
Like that.
That's what it does. It looks just like
legit is.
like a standard just Adult Swim
It's
show.
also like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like meant for that time slot.
But that is an anime studio doing this, and it's in Japanese and all that stuff. And that's always the fun thing when you have like those different art styles and things like that. And that. But so, what are you guys watching
Right now?
this season, if anything?
So I'm watching Cells at Work.
Both.
Cells at Work Black.
I need to watch that one.
Black is pretty funny. So I was talking about this before. Episode 3 is the best. You learn how your penis works.
Oh, boy.
Oof.
You can see the red blood cells. It's like a little tube. And they run in and
Dude.
pushing on the walls. You're
They
like,
should,
what
they
am
should
I
play
watching?
that at like sex ed classes now.
Oh, it's so funny because they also have like the sperms and they're like little kids.
No.
And they're like in a tank. So picture like a goose, but with a kid's face on it. And then I remember like, oh, it's about to ejaculate, and they're swimming through the tube, and it finishes. All I see is like the light, and
Amazing.
the red blood cells are all like, or the main guy, he's like happy because he's like, because he thinks it's for procreation or something. He's like, but one of them's like, sometimes one of the other red blood cells is like, sometimes it's not for procreation, and he's like, the other one's like, why do we live here then? what is this? Yeah, basically exactly like that.
God.
It's so funny.
It's like the Rick and Morty. What is my purpose? To pass the butter. Oh no.
Oh, I forgot that. So I also watched Eurocamp season
Yeah, yeah.
2. It's just cozy. It's one of those shows where you just put there and you're like, life is good. And then you leave it.
That's
and
your
you're like,
wholesome
life
show?
is bad.
Is there any like good romance shows this season?
Oh,
The Quintuplets, season 2.
Quintuple season 2. There's one I want to start watching. Fuck, what is it called?
I'll look at it.
Is it like new or like from like
No, it's
that?
from no. It's not a sequel. It's like
That's a
Oh.
new
it's
one.
this. It's this season.
I think it was on Reddit, and there was like top 4 or 5, if I'm not
Oh, I
mistaken.
can't remember the name of it right now. I can't remember if it starts with an H or W. It's one of the two.
One
it's like
of the two.
It's like a full name. I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, 'cause
I'd have to look at it again. But that is one I haven't started, but I really do want to start.
Well, I did see a wholesome romance. It was from a few seasons ago. You'll probably like it, Bob. It's called
It's a domestic girl.
Beast
Friends?
Stars.
I'm not gonna watch Beastars, dude.
It's great, dude. Episode like 2. So the fox meets the rabbit, and the rabbit just thinks he wants to bang her. So she takes off her clothing.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
yeah.
Did you feel some special sort of way?
Oh man, I don't know what's happening. It was crazy. It was like, is this allowed on Netflix? Am I allowed to watch this? I don't think I'm old enough for that show.
Did you have to click the parental advisory like it's okay for me to watch this?
Yeah. It was I think it was like R40 because anyone under should be watching that.
Wow. I was watching like the new Attack on Titan. But I think I'm focusing more on like catching up from like last season. I still want to watch RE0 and like
catch
Yeah.
up to where the
yeah, and like Kaguya-sama.
There's so many
Oh,
like
yeah.
season
two.
2s this
Oh, there's
season
so
that I
many.
haven't seen.
Yeah.
But
You have to catch up with the like
it starts with
how
an
to
H,
how to
the
pick
way I
up
think.
go in like
Yeah.
a dungeon or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's that one.
What's it called? Horimiya?
Horimiya.
Fuck
Is that
you,
the one you're talking
dude!
about?
I was reading that
Horimiya.
manga like 7 years ago. I love
But
that.
it's a show.
It's a show now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I
Was
gotta
that the
watch
one you were
that now.
thinking of?
Yeah, that is the one.
Okay.
That was the one.
I
Because
love
the only
that
other
manga.
one that's popular on here was Wonder Egg Prodigy.
No, that's funny.
I have no clue what that is.
I don't know
I
what
haven't
that is
looked it
either.
up.
But Horimiya is the one.
I've been waiting for that show for so long.
Yeah, but now it's there.
I knew it was gonna become an anime.
There's a couple too. What's another one that I like? That I'll probably watch, just because I want to watch it. Bottom tier character Tomozaki is one that I think would be good. It's another romance one.
What's that about?
A neat trying not to be a neat anymore.
It's like our lives.
Whoa!
What?
No, but it's just like a kid in high school who's neat and decides he wants to, well, through outside means, decides he wants to make a better life for himself, become more social.
I bet you're like super awkward.
Probably is.
Oh,
It's probably like awkward for the
Yeah.
first like 5 episodes. And
But-
then it gets normal.
But is
and
that
then
about
like 10,
awkward?
11
Where you
get
like
bad.
relate? You're like, oh my god, he's trying, and this is cringy, but like this is relatable.
It is a bit. I
Hopefully
mean,
not.
it's one where I read some of the source material for, but I mean, it's not that bad. It is a little cringy, but it could be worse.
It could be.
Well, it could always be worse.
Like it can be Watamote worse,
Oh, okay, okay.
and it's not there. So
But then I think this season I'm trying to catch up on other shows from
previous
like the
stuff.
year that I took off of anime.
Oh yeah.
So I'm binging through all that, and then I'll probably try to catch up on some of those shows this season of season 2s, but I might just fully start like next season where not every show is legit like a
Yeah,
sequel.
because there's so many. I mean, you got season 3 of Danmachi, which-
You
I
have
still have season 2.
Attack on Titan,
Attack on Titan,
Quintuplets, Beastars 2,
Beastars 2.
Eurocamp 2.
I couldn't finish Quintuplets or whatever it's called.
I haven't seen it yet.
I started it.
I like
it's
it.
great.
I like it.
I think I got halfway
It's
through the
guilty
first
pleasure.
season.
I can't remember what else is this
There's the
season.
slime show.
Oh, the
Oh,
slime.
Slime
That
show.
finally came out this season
About
after
time.
I think. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard
Uh,
of that slime show though.
It's been like 3 seasons.
maybe we should name it after something.
Dude, I've never heard that title in my life.
I know, right?
Oh, Doctor Stone 2.
Oh, Dr. Stone 2. Ray Zero.
Promise Neverland.
Promise Neverland.
Neverland.
Ray Zero, yeah. There's probably more. One Piece if you want.
Well,
Season
that just keeps
3000.
going. That doesn't stop. Same with like Black Clover now and
The
stuff
Black
like that.
Clover's on there.
Black
yeah.
Clover still going on?
Yeah, dude, it hasn't stopped.
Oh my god.
But it's another freaking Naruto. It's gonna be one of those. If you didn't start then, you're never gonna
I think
catch
I
up.
watched like 8 episodes, but his voice was just so annoying.
That's why you don't watch it in English after.
No,
It wasn't English.
He watched it in
I
Japanese.
know. But
Oh.
the English one's just as bad.
It's just as bad. Oh, I couldn't do it.
Oh, it sucks.
I couldn't do it.
But that one's more one that if I find the time, it's more like I want to more read the manga of it, and so you don't have to deal with that.
Nah, yeah.
But because I heard the manga's decent to a certain point. I mean, it's another shonen.
It's a
right?
shonen. All the mangas are decent, but they are very just.
So, yeah.
After you've read like 17 of them, your 18th one probably sounds the same.
similar, yeah.
But you still get hyped.
Well, yeah. For
I
certain
mean, it's
situations.
like tailor made to do that for you, right?
That's the
Just to
point.
build the hype. It's just
Is there a Haikyuu like this season?
No, that was last.
That was last
That was
season.
last
2
season.
seasons
2
ago.
seasons ago?
Something like that.
That was the last one, I think.
Because like the manga's
final
over,
season.
so I'm
I think
wondering
it was
like
the
they're
final
gonna. Ooh.
I think it was already finished. So they finished Snafu recently. Oh, I watched that. That was another one that I
Did they finish the whole like light novel or just
Yeah, so the light novels are done, and the show.
did
is
it catch
done.
up? Oh shit.
The show's done.
So the show's caught up, or is it just done?
Well, it's like it's hard to tell because those are light novels I haven't read, right? So, and I can't remember how many volumes there are. I don't even think all of them are localized yet. I think locally there's only like 15, and I think there's close to 20 in total.
Sure.
21.
So I wouldn't be able to. I mean that's one that I've strictly anime only, right? So as far as I am concerned, and from what I've heard from how the light novel ends, yeah, it's show's over.
You already know who Best Girl is?
Yeah, I watched the show. That was like 2 seasons ago.
Oh damn, so behind.
See, he watched one season of something.
Well, here's the thing. It's like
Within
I
the
watched.
year break
yeah,
that we all
exactly.
took.
I watched like it was like certain seasons sporadically, right? Like certain
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Like I watched Rent a Girlfriend. Was that last season or 2 seasons
Last
ago?
season.
That was last season, so I watched that.
Best Girl was there.
What?
Best Girl was in that show.
Best girls in that show.
Mommy, right?
Fuck you. Then there
Why do you
is.
say that? You always love mommy. You always talk. You have the plushie over there.
That's not.
Do you have the
there's
body
nothing,
pillow?
there's nothing over there. There's another couch over there. So, what else did I watch? I watched Snafu just to finish it, to be done. I don't even remember what else I watched. Oh, we watched Toilet Bound
Oh,
Hanako-san. That was this year as well.
yeah. That actually is up for the anime awards for best art style.
Good, because it was great. The art style
We'll
of it,
talk about that next time.
it was
but-
great.
But that is probably like one of the few shows. I think I watched that, and I watched because I was going through all the short shows because
Yeah.
3 minutes, 12 minutes.
Oh my god.
I watched was it Love Like a Cocktail or something?
Was it
Oh,
Love
yeah,
is
yeah,
Like a
yeah, I know
Cocktail.
that one. Yeah.
It's real wholesome.
It's super wholesome.
You'd like
You're
it.
lying to me?
No,
No.
It's 3 minutes.
We're being
It's about
legit.
a girl who's like you, who can't handle her alcohol, who's married to this guy who he's a bartender.
Yeah, it makes her drinks.
Just makes her drink. She has one drink and she just lets her hair down, and
Sounds amazing.
It's great.
yeah, it's only 3 minutes long and there's 12
I'm gonna watch
episodes.
it right after this.
Didn't you watch some other short ones?
Probably.
I don't.
Yeah,
that's the
I've
thing,
watched
I don't
so much
remember.
garbage
It's like
that-
I remember us watching Primal, which
Oh,
is not an
Primal.
anime,
Yeah, that's a
but
good
it's still animated. You should watch it.
It's on
It's
HBO.
showing.
on
That's on
HBO.
HBO. Yeah.
From the same guy who did Samurai
Samurai
Jack.
Yeah,
Um,
we watched a lot. I can't remember much because I think it was just before last winter. We just kind of started watching just YouTube on at lunch.
yeah.
Where I think like the last
We're just cooking
anime
shit.
was I could remember was like Sam the Cooking Guy. He's my favorite anime character.
Oh, good lord. But I mean, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, whether I watched or
I'd have to go through like my now
That's
list.
yeah.
I think I watch more anime movies than.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I did
because
go
they're
through.
easy.
I went through both Heaven's Feels this year.
I'm Promare for a second
Promare.
time.
Yeah, but we watched that the year before.
But then we watched a lot of things this year. But there's a few shows I remember starting. Like I guess I did. I watched Dr. Stone. I got up to I think 2 episodes I needed to do to catch up,
Oh, I remember that.
and then
That was the beginning of last
Fire
year,
Force,
Yeah, I started Fire Force.
Fire
too.
Force, and
Yeah.
then I started. I don't know the name of it. It started with a C, but it was one of those like cute girls do cute things type of show, where they were airsoft shooters.
Oh yeah.
So basically what they would do is they would have the airsoft gun
Okay.
and they would sit and aim at a target. It's an Olympic event,
Okay.
and they have to shoot this target that's like 100 meters away. It's not like super far, but they have to hit as many times. I think it's 100 shots in 120 minutes or something, or 100 minutes. It's like a minute a shot basically. But they add up all the points at the end, and it's like it's
So
it's
it's
stressful.
like a sports anime.
Yeah, it's a sports anime, but where they just kind of sit there and shoot at a target.
Was the show with the jet skis this year?
That was the beginning of last year, I think.
Like 2020, right?
Yeah, it was.
Well, and that's
something
what I meant.
jet-
That's what I meant
yeah.
last year.
I didn't fully watch that one either. I got
did.
episode 1 in, and I wanted to watch it, but it was, I just kind of died on it.
It's interesting.
Is it dang nasty?
It is.
Oof.
It is.
Just like that God tier interspecies reviewers.
Oh, that was last year too.
That was
I
last year.
watched-
That is best anime of last year. Prove me
Oh
wrong.
my
Let
god.
me check the Anime of the Year awards.
Why is it not on
Oh,
Crunchyroll?
I think it's on one of them.
Is it? Oof.
I think it's on one of the awards. I can't. Or it was like it was a nominee for like one of the categories.
It's in
or something.
Pornhub Awards.
Yeah, better be.
Pornhub Awards.
But it is so funny. Oh, it's so great that that's there. It just makes me smile. Was it there? Or was it something? Oh, I think it was like its rating is like super high.
Of
Or
course. it
some
is.
crazy shit like that.
Well, what's it called? On Mal, it's up there in certain countries. If you watch the
That's what it was.
the-
That's where I
the-
saw it.
the anime guy,
Yeah.
or man, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The anime guy.
Anime man, Joey, he had a video talking about it was like in the weird countries where I'm pretty sure like 15 people live. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
top
yeah.
rated there. You're like, it's like, I guess you can count that. But
In some
yeah.
random village.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. There was nothing I really watched last year. This year, I'm like, I'm probably gonna watch a lot of it dubbed just so I can blow through it.
I mean, there's things I want to go through, like there's another second season I just remember right now. Jujutsu Kaisen
Oh,
is
yeah,
another one
that's
that
second season.
I kind of want to go through as well. Luckily, it's only one season in this season, and then woo, I'm there, right? So that's one I do want to watch.
Another show you should watch that has many seasons, Baruto. You know,
No,
No.
there's also like the shit ton of isekais that are still this season as well,
constantly.
like the
They'll never stop.
like the Spider Show.
I want to watch that
The
one.
Spider Show?
Yeah. Classroom dies and they all become reincarnated as spiders.
No,
only
no,
one
only
of
one
those.
guy.
There's only one?
Yeah.
It's a chick.
Oh, never mind.
Did you
Never
read
mind.
that like last year?
He's probably read all of them.
I have caught up
You bitch.
Of course.
with localization of that one.
I remember you mentioning that sometime last year. You were reading some weird shit.
Yeah, it was great. Well, that's when I started reading. This was before there was any anime announcement or anything. I was like, this looks weird. I'm going to read this thing.
Where'd you read it at?
Don't worry about it. But I read this thing, and then
Bookwalker.
and then it got like announced.
Probably
And I
booked
was
like
like, oh,
10.
sweet.
Probably spent like $100 on it easily already.
Easily.
Easily.
But it's good. It's a good series.
Yeah, I'll watch it
Yeah, just watch it. That's fine.
for free.
Sure, whatever's.
I'll watch it for free. Is it on Crunchyroll?
I think
It's on Crunchyroll.
It's on Crunchyroll.
I think it was on my Verve.
Yeah.
Never use Verb.
It's Crunchyroll.
It's
It's
the
the
same
better
thing.
version of Crunchyroll.
But now that
And you don't pay for Crunchyroll.
which who owns Verb? Now that Sony owns like Funimation,
It
and
probably owns
Crunchyroll,
all of it, yeah.
So Sony just owns all of them.
Basically, at
Well,
this point.
that's the weird thing too, because I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens with High Dive right when that happens, because that's technically owned by Sentai Filmworks.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll see
Verve,
how
I don't know
that-
what's going to happen, period, because they also have a Rooster Teeth on there, which is
Oh,
owned
yeah.
by WB.
Yeah.
And they had something else. But they used to have Shudder, but they got rid of Shudder because I think it became its own streaming service or something weird. They do horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they had other things, but they've come and go. We get new
There's
things.
so many fucking streaming services now.
Yeah, they're like
Mhm.
channels, dude. They're like cable channels.
You're
See-
just pretty much paying for cable now.
See, I don't mind Verve because Crunchyroll is like $8,
It's really cheap.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Verve is 15, but it
Well,
covers,
you get all of.
but you
three
cover
or
like
whatever.
everything you
Yeah.
wanted. So I just got it all. I'm like, oh, this is the
It's
best
just
way
that
of doing
minus
it.
Funimation.
Yeah. So at least you get everything. Maybe if Prime ever decides to do good anime and showcase it,
But
I think that's more the issue. I mean, I don't know if they've gotten anything new anyway, but
they probably have.
it's
I
so
just
hard to
can't find it.
like, anime on Prime.
yeah.
It's just buried. If you look up animation or anime, you either just find like the paid for stuff or you find cartoons.
You know what you can find?
What?
James May.
Yeah,
In
Sumi
Japan.
Masa.
Sumimasen. And all the sports documentaries.
That's true.
Yeah, they're all there.
All
Lot of
there.
garbage.
And shitty horror movies. All of them on Prime.
Oh,
So we're watching some horror movies on Prime after this.
sure.
After Kiki.
Yeah.
We're
have to-
gonna find that.
Or watch Kiki's after.
Oh yeah,
That's a
because
common.
you gotta watch the shitty one first, and then you watch the good movie after. Like we have to find that movie where like the couch kills people.
No, I want to watch the Vampire Jesus Hunter or whatever it was.
Oh
Remember
my
that
god, I
one?
remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things killing, dude.
God tier. We gotta watch Thanksgiving 3 still.
Yeah, you need to,
Oh,
what
right.
is
I
that
forgot.
one?
No, they
No,
skipped two.
So the,
Oh,
the
that's
third
good. That's
one
fine.
is
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try to find the second one.
The
And then,
third
they got
one has
budget.
more budget.
That's why it's worse.
That's why it's worse.
Just like Train
It's
to
like
Busan.
it's like the Cube.
Dude,
Cube got better.
Cube
what are you
is
talking
fucking
about?
god tier. What are you talking about?
No, it's more like Train to Busan where Peninsula was okay.
That was garbage.
It was okay.
It wasn't the best.
They had too much budget. Too much money.
Too much money.
That's up too much Michael Bay in that movie. He didn't make that movie, but
You can hear him talking though from the background. You're like, explosion?
if you squint really close, you'll see his name in the credits at the end.
Yeah, it'll be a robot
Under
transforming
one
in
of
the
Under
background.
one of the producers. It was Michael Bay. Oh boy. But yeah, well, that's So is there anything else this season? Anything we're going? Well, obviously, we'll keep going. Obviously, we'll probably talk more in depth about certain shows.
Yeah, I
right,
think
as
next
the season
week.
progresses.
I think or next time we post will be more. Should be next week. Should be more of the stuff we're catching up on this season, and then
Random things we saw.
I think what we should talk about is the anime awards that are coming up,
All the Crunchyroll ones.
and we can make our own nominees. No, we can't do that because we didn't watch anything. But we can vote on the few shows that are
That
there.
they have nominated. Whether
And we'll
they're-
talk about
Let me
it.
just not sleep for the next week, and I can watch everything.
That's okay. There's probably only like 40 shows
Only.
only.
on the awards
No,
and like
on
200
the
shows.
awards, it's all going to be like comprised into like the same 10.
Well, I looked at the top 3, which was Anime of the Year, Best Opening, and Best Ending.
Yes.
And I saw, so there's six shows,
In each one, yeah.
and I'm pretty sure there were 7 shows altogether.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was going to be in
In
the
there.
same block of shows the entire time.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, you guys got anything else?
No, that'd be everything.
No?
Thank you to whoever decided to listen to our sorry asses. But
Hi, Mom. Wave at my mom.
Hi, Mom.
The wave.
Oh,
There you go.
but some people can't see us wave.
Yeah, but my mom's going to watch it.
Oh, okay.
She watched the other one. She said she didn't like you.
I was thinking the other one.
She doesn't know that.
Oh, okay.
So.
That's she racist. Okay.
Anyway, I guess see you next time. Play us off.
peace.